y'all, so we're doing two things today. We are translating algebraic expressions, which you've probably been doing for forever. You just didn't have a name for it. That's what you do when you read a word problem, and then you write like an equation from it. You're translating algebraic expressions, and then we're going to solve equations. So that's where we're headed, okay? So we're going to brainstorm first. So what are some words that you know that tell you to add? What you got?
More.
Some. Good. Somebody else said another one. More. What else? Plus. At.
I mean, that's not a problem.
It's right there. I'm not going to write it again. What else? Yeah, write them all.
Plus, or did you already get that?
We already said plus.
Can't see the word.
Increase. That's a good one. I-N-C-R-E-A-S. I'm thinking of a word that starts with a T. Total. Good. What else?
How much? No.
That's a little vague.
That's about it.
Is that it?
Wait, is there more?
I'm thinking of a few more. At least one more.
How about it? Hey, what do you call the dot? Like, does that have a name when you're multiplying?
I don't know. I mean, it just means multiplication.
I saw it called a dot.
Yeah, that's all I called it. So I was thinking like all together or together. Would that make sense for add?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Wouldn't all be like,
All?
because I heard like in first grade.
Hey, no, in first grade, they said
Well, I heard like
All? Yeah, we can put all. I could see that. I was trying to think of a scenario that where that would not be true, but I can't. So for now, we'll say all. Yeah. Anything else y'all can think of? That spark any other ideas?
Where would that? Yes. I heard from Brian.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got three more. So, what about subtract?
degree.
Decrease. I like that one. Hold on. D-C-R-E.
What's the answer called?
Negative, minus.
No. Wait, I know this. Wait. Less than. No. Yeah, what's the answer called?
That's it.
Less than. Hey. Oh.
Do you know what that is? What?
Difference. Decrease. What else do we say? Y'all said other words that minus. I'm just gonna be real honest. 90% chance they're probably not gonna say minus. It's okay though. We'll still write it. What else?
Take away. Listen, I see that coming, man.
Maybe in middle school. Welcome to high school, my friends.
That's not going to be good.
Decrease difference minus. So I starred less than because it's a really important one. So if I say that it's 2 less than a number, what does that mean?
It means you do the number minus 2.
The number. So what did you do? You switch the order of how we just said that, right? So anytime you see the word or the phrase less than, you've got to flip the order of how they're saying it, okay? So if we wrote like 2 less than a number, is that correct?
No.
No, how's it supposed to be? X minus 2, right? So that less than phrase tells you to flip the order, okay? So that's why I started. That's a ding, ding, ding. That's a red flag. You need to remember it because you're probably going to forget. So I'm going to write switch the order there. Is that okay? Or I'm just going to say switch. S-W-I-T-C-H. I'm going to highlight that as well because it's a big one. Try not to knock over my coffee here.
I ain't never heard of switch.
Well, now you have. Huh? Is there anything else for subtract? Yeah, I'm not really thinking of anything else right now. So we'll if we think of anything else, we can add it later. For now, let's move on to multiply. That okay? All right. So it tells us product. Y'all are good. Times. Okay.
Multiply.
I'm not gonna write the word again, but yeah. Ooh, double. Double's a good one because it's very specific. It tells you to do what? Multiply by. Good. So double, and then somebody else said, what would be after double? Triple, which specifically tells you to multiply by 3. Good. Quadruple, I can't spell that, so I'm not even going to try. I'm not doing it.
You just write quad.
No, I'm not doing it. You can't peer pressure me. So we got product times, double, triple. What is like, what'd you say? Factors? Okay, so I like that. So does anybody know what factors are?
Nope.
Besides Sam, right? Sam? So factors are the numbers that you multiply to get your product. So like factors of 10 would be 2 and 5. Does that make any sense? So 2 times 5 gives you 10. Okay, so we're going to do a lot more with that later, like 6 units from now. But that's a good one. I'm thinking back to like yesterday. If you have to find the perimeter of a shape, what do you have to do?
Area.
If you have to find the perimeter of a shape, you add, right? So can we add perimeter under add for us? Because if it's talking about perimeter, you're going to have to add all your sides. So then if perimeter is adding, what can we put for multiplier? So I record these lessons, so that sound is going to be for all of YouTube to hear. Okay, cool beans. What else? Anything else for multiply? I'm not writing that word. We're still on multiply. Is there anything else we can think of? I feel like there's more that we usually put on there. What'd you say? No. Not this time. Alright, if we think of anything else, we'll come back. Divide, y'all are already on it. Quotient. Okay, I think I know how to spell this. Q-U-O-T-I. Oh, I remember a word for multiply. Can we jump back for 1 second? It's a tiny, tiny word. Per. So can somebody give me an example of how that tells you like to multiply?
Like if they're.
Oh.
Per every person.
Yeah.
Or so like if you're going to the football game and tickets are $7 per person, you have 3 people going, multiply by 7, right? Yeah? Okay.
How much pie does everybody get?
That one actually might have you dividing. If you have 1 pie.
I guess so.
Yeah. It's okay. Good thought. What other words tell us to divide? We got quotient. Half. And that specifically tells you to do what? Divide by 2. Y'all are so good. Per. If you're talking about one thing per person. Usually for us, per means multiply. So we're just going to leave it under multiply. What else means to divide? Oh, if I have 10 candy bars and I want to give them evenly. Somebody said the word I was thinking. Split.
Oh, I said forgot. No, you did. Yes, I did. You did.
Because when I don't want to put distribute there because when we distribute, what operation do you do? Distribute. When you distribute, you multiply. That's what we just did yesterday. That's what we just did 5 minutes ago. What else means to divide? Quotient, half, split. I can't think of anything else right now. All right, we're going to leave it at that. If we come up with something else, we'll come back and add it. Are y'all all right so far? Yes? Okay, cool. So we are going to evaluate each expression. We're going to write it in numbers and then evaluate it, I think is what we're going to do. So this one says 13 decreased by 12. What does that mean? 13 minus 12. And what is 13 minus 12? Ooh, somebody said 12. It's 1. Is that okay? So the next one, it says the product of 8 and 9. What does product mean? Multiply. So 8 times 9 gives us what? 72. Good. All right, what's half of 22? It tells us to do what? Divide by what? By 2, and we get good. And number 4 says the sum of 8 and 14. What does sum tell you to do? 8 plus 14, which is 22. Good. Are we all good there? Questions on anything? Okay. So for the next parts, we're not going to evaluate it because we have variables in these, so we're just translating at this point. So it says a number increased by 10. So when it says a number, what do we usually put in its place? We could put n, we could put x. What are those both called? Variables. You got to put some variable in there. I don't care what you use, okay? I'm going to use x just because that's probably what you'll see most of the time. So we have some number. Increased. What does increase tell you to do? Plus. Plus what? 10. Is that okay? Alright, so the next one, it says twice y. So it's 2 times y, right? And how do we write 2 times y? 2y. All right, number 3, it says d less than 27. So when we see that phrase, less than, that's a ding, 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 red flag. What do you have to do? Switch it. So instead of d minus 27, what are we going to write? There you go. I want you to star this one, highlight it, circle it. Make sure you know how to do that. Because y'all are having a quiz on Friday, in case you didn't know. If you look at the signs over here on the wall by the cabinets, do you see them? You see the one that says Math 1? It says coming up, Unit 1 quiz Friday. Okay, that's been there since open house, right? So you got a quiz on Friday. This is going to be on there. So if you miss this, I'm going to come find you. It's not going to be pretty, okay?
Same question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The same one?
I don't remember. The numbers and letters are probably different, but it's going to say something less than something. So you just got to know to switch, okay? Questions? What's up? We'll figure it out. All right, number 4, the quotient of 8 and 2. What does quotient tell you to do? Divide. So when we're dividing, which one goes on top, which goes on bottom?
Bigger number goes on.
Generally, bigger number goes on top. Okay, so for our purposes, if it says the quotient of something and something, top, bottom. First number goes on top, second number goes on bottom. Okay, so we're going to have 8 divided by 2. Can we figure that out? Do we know what that is?
4.
Questions? All right, so the next section, it's asking us what it means to square something. Anybody know? Multiply it by itself. That's exactly what we want. So, for example, that would be like x times x, yeah? Or like 3 times 3. That okay? How else could we write that? Because they're probably not going to write out x times x. What do they write? X squared. Good. I'm going to put that right here. X squared. Alright, so then the next part wants to know what it means to cube something.
Multiply by itself 3 times.
3 times. Good. So that would be like x times x times x. Are they going to write it out like that? What do they put? X cubed. So the last part, how would you write x to the fourth power?
X with 4.
X with a 4 exponent. And what does that mean?
X looks like X times.
X times X times X times X.
That okay? Questions? So are we all good with the whole like translating bit? Yeah? Okay, because we're about to change gears. We're going to solve equations now. You ready?
No.
Too bad. Get ready. So we're going to start simple, okay? So with just one-step equations. So we want to get the variable by itself, right? So it's going to say something like a minus 8 equals 16. We want to know what a is, okay? So we're getting that variable all by itself, and you're going to do that by like undoing whatever's happening. So opposite operations, yeah? So if we're looking at the first one where it says a minus 8, we want to undo that. So instead of minus 8, what do? Add 8. And if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other as well, correct? We got to keep that equation balanced. Do y'all do like this and like a thing? Yeah, maybe. I don't know how they do in middle school. So if you have negative 8, positive 8, what happens there? That goes away. We're just left with the a equals. What's 16 plus 8? 24. So a equals 24. That's our answer. We're all done. Questions? So looking at the next one, we have 7x equals 56. So 7x, what operation is happening there? Multiplication. To undo that, what do we need to do? Divide. So you're going to divide each side by what? Why are we dividing by 7? That's what you're getting away from the x, yeah? So the 7's cancel and you just have x equals, what's 56 divided by 7? 8. Good. We're going to skip number 3 for right now. I want you to go to number 4. We're saving number 3 for last. So number 4, we have y over 5. What operation? What is that right now? Division. So to undo that, what should we do? Multiply by what? 5. So helpful hint, anytime you've got a fraction, to get rid of the fraction, multiply by your denominator. That's the bottom number, which is exactly what we're going to do right now. So we're multiplying each side by 5 times 5. So those will cancel out, the y will drop down. And what is 9 times 5? 45. Questions? All right. So let's look at number 5. We have negative 15 plus n equals equals negative 9. So we want to get the n all by itself. What do we have to move? Negative 15. So since it's like negative or minus, we're going to add it. So what is negative 9 plus 15?
6.
All right, looking at number 6, negative 104 x. So 8x, that means multiply, right?
Yeah.
Undo that. How are you going to do it? Divide. So we're dividing each side by 8. Now, do we know what 104 divided by 8 is? Is that something we have memorized?
No.
I don't. Okay, so we're going to have to do some long division there. So is our answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
It's going to be negative, so it's going to be negative something. Let's do some long division to figure that out. I'm going to borrow this right here. So we've got 8, and we're dividing 104. So will 8 go into 1? So 8 goes into 10. How many times? 1 time. And we have 8. So 10 minus 8, what do you get? 2. Bring down the 4. How many times will 8 go into 24? 3 times. And 8 times 3 is 24. Our remainder is 0. That's what you want. So our answer is what? 13. So negative 13 equals x. And we're all done there. All right, number 7, we've got negative 6 equals b over 18. So since it's dividing, we've got a fraction. How are we going to get rid of it?
Multiply by 18.
Multiply by 18, or whatever's in your denominator anytime you've got a fraction. So we've got 6 times 18, negative 6 times 18. So is our answer going to be positive or negative? Negative. And what is 6 times 18? Do we know yet? Do we need to go through how to do that? 108, are we all good there? Do we know how to find that without a calculator? Yeah. I don't think you'll have any numbers quite this big on your stuff later, so don't stress about that. Questions? All right, cool. So we skipped number 3. We need to go back and talk about it for just a second. So you've got 9 minus b equals 27. So we want to get the b by itself, right? So what do we need to get rid of? 9. And it's positive 9, so how are we going to move it? Minus 9. So we're going to have negative b equals, what's 27 minus 9? 18.
And then you have to divide the negative.
So is negative b what we're looking for? No, we want just plain regular old b, right? So you've got to divide off that negative. So divide everything by negative 1. You got it. So b equals negative 18. I kind of ran out of room. So because it was minus b, we had that negative in front of your b. So when we came down here, we had negative b equals whatever. And that's not your final answer, okay? So you have to take another step and get b all by itself. Questions? This is another one where y'all will probably make mistakes. So circle that one, highlight it on it, make sure you know how to do that and you know when to do that. You will probably see it again. Hint, hint. Have any questions before we try some that are a little bit harder? Alrighty, so moving on to the second section. These are 2 steps, so it's just got a little bit more going on. So we have to get, like if we're looking at the first one, you've got to get your variable term by itself first before you can start to isolate your variable like you were doing before. So we want to figure out what a is. So what do we need to move first? So it's not even touching a that we need to move. The 4. So if it's plus 4, how are we going to move it to the other side? Minus 4. And what is 6 minus 4? 2. So we've got 2 equals 2a. So now at this point, again, we want to know what a is. Divide by 2. And why are we dividing? It's multiplying. When your numbers are touching like that, or your number and your variable touch, that means multiplication. And what is 2 divided by 2? 1. So 1 equals a, and we're all done. Questions? Alright. So for number 2, what is not even touching our variable that we need to move first? The 10, right? Because it's like plus 10. So how are we going to move it to the other side? Minus 10. So those cancel out. B over 3 equals 17 minus 10 gave us 7. So now we have B over 3 equals 7. Times 3. We got that fraction. To get rid of it, you multiply by your denominator. Good. So B equals 21. Questions? Alrighty, so for number 3, this one's a little bit different. So we have n plus 5 all divided by 16 equals -1. So we have a big fraction there. Do we want fractions? How do we get rid of them? Multiply, yeah? So multiply by what? 16. So if we multiply this side by 16, my pen's not writing. We have to multiply this side by 16. The 16s are going to cancel out. Whatever you have on top is going to drop down. So that n plus 5 drops down. And then -1 times 16 is going to give us -16. Now what do? Minus 5. So what's -16 minus 5? Negative what? 21. So we're going to pause for just a moment. Do we see the difference between number 2 and number 3?
Yeah.
What's different?
The negative variable.
Look at just the left side. What's different about this and this? Everything is being divided. So if everything is being divided, your first step has to be to multiply. Does that make sense? So can we write that somewhere? I'm going to write it over here. So I'm going to draw an arrow. I'm going to say if everything is being divided, your first step is to multiply. Questions on that? Okay, so we tend to get these confused. So again, if everything is being divided, that's when you multiply first. If everything is not being divided, you have to move the thing that's not even touching your variable before you can multiply, okay? So let's look at number 5. We'll do number 4 last. So looking at number 5, what's going on there?
Everything's being multiplied.
Everything is being divided. So what do you have to do first? Multiply. And what are we going to multiply by? 3, because that's what's in your denominator. Times 3. So that y plus 9 will drop down. And what's 8 times 3? 24. From there we have to minus 9 to get that y by itself. So y equals 15, and we're all done. Questions? All right. So number 4, then we'll be done. We've got 10 minus 6b equals -104. What do we need to move first?
Subtract the positive 10. So you guys subtract.
Why are we subtracting 10 first?
Because it was
It's positive, but why the 10? Why can't we do something with it? It's not with the variable at all. It's not even touching it, so you've got to move it first. So you're going to have -6b equals, what's -104 minus 10?
-114.
Good. Alrighty, so then from there, what do we do? Divide by -6 because we want to get that b by itself, and we're dividing because it's -6 times b right now. So is that something that we have memorized right there? 114 divided by 6? No, it's not. So negative divided by negative, what's our answer going to be? positive. So we know that much, so we don't have to worry about that when we're doing our long division here. And we've got 6, so we're dividing 114. How many times will 6 go into 11? One time. Oh, goodness. And that is 6. 6 minus 11, or other way around, 11 minus 6. What do you get? 5. Bring down the 4. How many times will 6 go into 54? 9 times. And what do we get? 54. So 19 is our answer. And we said it was going to be positive because we're dividing a negative by a negative. So there's our answer. We're done. Good to go. Questions? Okay, so before you pack up, how would you check your answer for any equation ever? Plug it back in. So can we add that at the bottom of our notes? So say to check your answer, plug your answer, or how would we say that? What makes sense? Plug it back in. They're what? Oh, good.
Dude, let's. You go to some packets.
I hope this is a better experience for you. So are we okay? Yes? On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being like you're an expert, show me how you feel right now. Okay, I'll take that. Alright, so,